Alright, Shalom Israel, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruchaha Kodash. That honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who's taught us this 100% truth. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to the Aki who puts his truth and sincerity. Shalom to the sincere Aki after we out the watching and learning. So whether you call from the gym, let's become his camp. And just a quick lesson through the spirit. We'll make it super quick. Just been on my mind, just want to get something on wax through the spirit for the listeners out there, learners. But this is super quick. The main point of this lesson is just to keep going. Right? If you've been graced with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the truth, keep going. If the Lord has blessed you to be a part of the fold, alright, to call yourself a man of the Lord, woman of the Lord, alright, keep going, alright. At the end of the day, when we came to serve the Lord, man, we signed our life away, pretty much, our life is solely given to the Lord, alright, and while we all have down moments, things like that. You stopping, man, is for the worst. It's lucky, but stopping is for the worst, man. Because at the end of the day, you going back into the world. The world has nothing to offer any of us. But wickedness, but death. Alright. So in any case, I just got a couple precepts, and that'll be it, Lord willing. But Luke 9, I'm just getting to the point. In verse 62, it says, and Yahweh said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. Simple as that, You must, once you start cutting the grass, ain't no good in you stopping, alright? Nobody wants a half-cut yard, because, when you start something and you stop, it just looks uneven, it looks wonky, and that's in any state, or any job you do. Who wants a half-built building when it's supposed to be a roof and the doors and all this? You spent all this time working on this stuff and then you just stop, mid-project or even close to the end, man. Those finishing touches on a job, make the job, the handles, the door handles, the outlet covers, just referencing, a house being built, You start with the foundation, you lay the foundation, you build up the walls, you put the drywall up, seal all the cracks, you know what I'm saying? Put your windows in, But, you can have all these foundations set up, but if you don't have the finishing touches, then it ain't worth nothing. You can put in windows, but if you don't got the trim to make it fit, make it sealed, then what? You can't put a door on without the hinges. You might get the door on, but what good is your door if you don't have a knob on? You can't go in or out. You see, and I did this precept of the day. Get some help from the brothers. Brother Tosh put a good precept in there. I'm going to get it. Luke, what was that, 14, verse 27. It says, Luke 14, starting in verse 27, says, whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. See? So at the end of the day, just elaborate on that real quick. You gotta hold your weight, man. You gotta, bear your cross. Simple as that, You gotta carry your cross, man. You can't depend on, anybody to have your back but the Lord, And the Lord will always have your back, but if you ain't putting in no effort, then, the Lord is not going to finish the job for you. And it's that simple. If you start cutting the grass, ain't nobody gonna just finish it for you, Because at that point, you gotta pay somebody else to finish the job, man. So we don't want nobody to receive our payment, Because when it comes to the truth, when it comes to the Lord, ain't no partial payments, You gotta finish the job to the end. I know if somebody come do work at my house and they just stop, I'm not gonna want to give them nothing. Like, you ain't complete my job, But I read on 28, it says, "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him." See, we're gonna be, you gonna be ashamed, man. We're gonna laugh at you, man. Hey, man, he sucked, man. He couldn't finish the job. He quit. You less of a man out here quitting on stuff, man. When it's come to this truth, man, you ain't nothing, man. You quit on the Lord, man. This ain't you working for Esau, and thinking that you can just go quit your job and, it don't work like that, man. When it comes to the Lord, man, you got to be down, all right? The scriptures tell you to count the cost, see? So it said right in the verse, you got to count the cost, man. You got to be down with this thing 100%. All right, this can't be something that you weary about, or that you're, I don't know if I can do it. I don't want to, You got to rebuke them spirits when they come to your mind. Telling that you ain't good enough, telling that you can't do it. Being unsure. Hey, man, at the end of the day, none of us know if we are the elect, man. But we feel confident in saying through the Spirit that we may be, and we move according, live our life to the best of our abilities, putting on as the elect, man, So at the end of the day, man, it ain't worth it for you to stop. You already started, man. Finish the course, man. And if the Lord got to weed you out, then that's up to the Lord, man. But don't allow yourself to just fall short. All right, don't look back. I got this pulled up that the elder put out in the group chat. It's Luke 17. I'm going to start at verse 32. It says, "Remember Lot's wife." What did Lot's wife do in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah? She looked back. All right, and what happened to her? She was turned to a pillar of salt, you see? So, you can't look back. Looking back is going to get you what? Death, man. You're going to be a part of this place, man, and not a part of the Lord, man. All right. Verse 33, it says, "Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it." You see? And that's the times we coming in. A lot of people are going to seek to save their life in this flesh. All right, that's why people are going to run to Esau and take the MOTB when it starts rolling out. People are going to go get that chip put in them, man. All right, so that way they can get back to living what they call normal. Slacking, you can go back and live your normal life. You see. So a lot of people are going to try to save their life in this flesh, man. But fuck that, man. Our life is on the line, man. All right? Scriptures speak about that. Let's see. Yeah. Psalms 116, verse 15, it says, "Pressed in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints." It's a precious thing to lose your life for the Lord, man. All right? It's a precious thing, man. All right? Because, let me see if I can get that to back this up. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 at the top says a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. You see, you dying with honor, all right, you know, dignity, integrity, you know, for the Lord, man, you know, being bold in the face of your enemies, being bold in the face of your adversaries, man, you know, that's precious in the sight of the Lord, man, you know. And for all that, what do we receive? We receive 100-fold, you know, for the things we forsake, the things that we lose in this life, man. All right? And I'm going to end off with this, because this is the end goal, man. It doesn't say, you know, endure for a little bit and you'll be okay. No. What does it say? Slock it. I just wanted to highlight it real quick. Matthew 24 and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And it's that simple. We got to fight this fight to the very end. Alright? And the end is not until you in the chariot. Alright? So don't think, it's the last day on earth and I'm going to go do some bullshit that I didn't get a chance to do or none of that. Like, nah, man. You got to fight to the end. All right? You don't wait till the end to denounce the Lord. All right? You don't wait till the end to do, nah, man. All right? Just like I read in that Luke, this Luke 14, you know, it'd be better if you haven't even started. All right? Matter of fact, it's a precept that speaks on that Salaki real quick that I want us to get. I think this is what I want. All right, yo. 2 Peter chapter 2, starting in verse 20, says, For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world, through the knowledge of the Lord and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach. See, so you know we are escaped from the ways of this world, man. You know the Lord has pulled us away to do His service. All right, it says they are again entangled therein and overcome. The latter end is worse than the beginning. See, I'm gonna finish this out. Verse 21 it says, For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness, then after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. You see? So it'd be better for you to not even have known the truth to begin with. Alright? So now your judgment to come is gonna be far worse, you know, than it would have been before. Alright? You know, if you lead this truth, man, you're gonna live a worse life. Alright? You're going to live a worse life, man. And don't think because if you fall away, though, because you increased in riches, that your life is not worse off. Trust and believe it is, because what did you lose? You lost the number one thing going, man. And how about Shem Yahushua? All right, you've lost the Lord, man. What good is your life without the Lord? All right? You set yourself up for a great day of destruction to come. So what now? See? So it's better if you've not even known the truth. Alright? It's better if you've not even known, man. Better if you didn't even start. But you know, for those of us that did start, I pray that we all continue on. That we all endure hardness as good soldiers, as the scriptures speak about. Alright? Keep the faith and keep pushing and keep fighting to the end. Alright? That's it. Lord willing, that was edifying. We give all praise, all honor, and all glory again unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Bakaha, Badash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, to say Shalom and Abba, Babal.